Mate. Excuse me. I got the flames. I smoke many cigarettes. Today, we're talking about strength. The serpent power. No wonder it's my favorite card. Intelligence of the secret of all spiritual activities. The Predasaurus. Into the house. This would be Chapter 12 from the classic guide by Paul Foster Case the Tarot, A Key to the Wisdom of the Ages. Let us begin. Key 8. Strength, or Teth. Teth, T-H, as in the, also T, value 9, means snake. Symbol of what has been known among occultists for ages as the serpent power. This was what Moses typified by his brazen image in the wilderness. It is the astrolite of Eliphas Levi, the force designated in theosophy by the term Fohat. It is cosmic electricity, the universal life principle, the conscious energy which takes form as all things and builds everything from within. The control of this energy in its subhuman forms by mental means is the primary secret of practical occultism. The serpent also symbolizes secrecy, subtlety, and wisdom. Thus, in the allegory of Genesis, the tempter is a snake, and the devil is called the old serpent. This serpent power is the source of illusion, and thus the father of lies. Yet, when it is overcome, it becomes the instrumentality of salvation. Again, because the ancients observed that serpents cast their skin, the snake was taken to be a type of reincarnation, regeneration, and immortality. Taste is the sense, and digestion the function, assigned to Teth by Kabbalists. Literally, digestion is feeding, and this recalls the familiar serpent biting its own tail, which we have seen in the picture of the magician. The serpent power feeds on itself, that is, it is self-sustaining. Scientifically, this is correct, the sum total of the universal conscious energy which remains ever the same. It enters into various forms of expression, and these feed on one another. Hence, the serpents on the caduceus or wand of Hermes represent this law of endless transformation and conversion. North above. Excuse me. North above, the direction assigned to Teth, is represented on the cube of space by the upper boundary of the northern face, which is the point of junction between that face and the top of the cube. This line connects the upper points of the line northeast and the line northwest. These are the lines corresponding respectively to Key 4, the Emperor, and Key 11, Justice. The northern face of the cube is represented in Terra by Key 16, the Tower, symbolizing the planet Mars and the fiery activity which has for its most obvious manifestation the disintegration of forms. In digestion, the first step is the breaking up of food by mastication, followed by further disintegration in the chemistry of the stomach and the intestines. This disintegrating activity under the conscious self-direction of the mental states typified by Mercury and the magician above is the basis of practical work in occultism. Until one is wise enough to select and digest the proper sorts of food, he is not ready to experiment with the higher laws of control which enable adepts to perform their mighty works. Corresponding to it, based on the principle expressed in the Hermetic axiom as above so below, is right selection and assimilation of mental food. Yes. Watch out for the ideologies. Excuse me. Leo, the lion, a fixed sign of fiery quality, is attributed to the letter Teth. Leo is ruled by the sun, key 19. It governs the sides, back, heart, and spinal column. It is the sign attributed in Hebrew occultism to the tribe of Judah. The astrological symbol for Leo resembles a serpent, and the sign governing the spine is thus related to the nerve currents directed upward through the spinal centers in the practice of yoga. In modern astrology, Leo is said to be the sign of the exaltation of Neptune, key 12, the Hanged Man, or Lux. The color assigned to Leo is yellow. Its musical tone is E natural. Intelligence of the secret of all spiritual activities, or intelligence of the secret of works, is the mode of consciousness attributed by Kabbalists to Teth. Here it should be borne in mind that all activities are spiritual, and in the literal sense of spirit, as the cosmic life breath. Part of the secret is the law that all forces and activities whatsoever are transmutations and conversions of the one conscious energy. Other phases of this law will be touched upon in our analysis of the symbols of Key 8. Strength, the title of Key 8, is sometimes given as force, and occasionally, but incorrectly, as fortitude. It is courage, only as courage is derived from conscious knowledge of the law typified by the symbolism. The correct titles, strength or force, allude to the fiery life power which is the source of all human action. The yellow background of the picture agrees with the color attributed to Leo in our scale. In the distance is a mountain peak, like the one shown in Key 6 and having the same meanings. In contrast to the urban aspect of Key 7, the scene here is an uninhabited plain. It is a plain in a valley, suggesting the level of actual existence, but the absence of houses indicates that the conditions here are those of nature, apart from human artifice, or architecture, if you will, but artifice is more specific of a word here. The woman's yellow hair identifies her with the Empress, so that we may understand her to represent creative imagination and the subconscious generation of mental imagery. Instead of a wreath, she wears a crown of flowers, indicating that I yawn a lot for some reason when I make these videos. I don't yawn otherwise. It's like the woman's yellow hair identifies her with the Empress, so that we may understand her to represent creative imagination and the subconscious generation of mental imagery. Instead of a wreath, she wears a crown of flowers, indicating that at the point of development shown by Key 8, the forces of organic life are nearer to fruition. Over her head is the same horizontal 8 that hovers over the head of the magician. It has the same meanings. It further intimates that something of the magician's quality has been transferred to the woman. It indicates the fact that subconsciousness receives the impress of self-conscious mental states and is modified by self-conscious selectivity and initiative. Even as the outcome of the digestive processes themselves governed by subconsciousness depends on our conscious selection of food and our conscious attention to the preliminary work of mastication, so does the outcome of subconscious operations in general depend for good or ill on the selection and direction, which are the particular business of the self-conscious plane of mind. That's a mouthful. Note in this connection that on the cube of space, the line north above is at the top of the cube, or at the level of the upper surface, which is assigned to Key 1, the magician. The unornamented white robe of the woman signifies purity in the strictest sense of that word, which means freedom from mixture, because white is the color assigned to Kether, the crown, which is the uppermost circle on the Kabbalistic diagram of the Tree of Life, or the uppermost Sephirah, which is the uppermost circle of the Kabbalistic diagram of the Tree of Life. This color, wherever it appears in tarot symbolism, relates to the pure spiritual influence of the primal will. That's why the sun is white and at a 45-degree angle in the Fool card, because it is endless. God, where's my oxygen? Gosh. The lion, as king of beasts, represents all subhuman forces, all subhuman expressions of the cosmic vital electricity. The king stands for all his subjects. His color refers to the alchemical red lion, symbol of sulfur, purified and sublimated by its amalgamation with mercury. This is exactly the idea hinted at by the attribution of north above to this key, inasmuch as the alchemical sulfur has to do with fiery electromagnetic potency common to the sun, ruler of Leo, and to Mars, north, and this potency is directed by self-consciousness, Mercury, above. The lion also confirms the attribution of key 8 to Leo. You will remember that some mention of this was made in Chapter 3. Unless you smoke a lot of pot like I do, in which case you just gotta reread shit. The woman tames the lion in Dr. Waite's version. She shuts his mouth. That sentence is wrong. The punctuation alludes to different sounds. What is wrong with this light? I don't know. I think it's my camera. The woman tames the lion in the Builders of the Adytum deck. In the Rider-Waite version, she shuts his mouth. In the Builders of the Adytum version reproduced here with, as in all the older versions, she opens it. This is preferable, since to open the mouth is to make articulate. Remember artifice? You have to create your words as well. Articulate. To give speech to, and whatever has the power of speech is assimilated with humanity and impressed by human thought. When we assimilate the hostile, destructive, dangerous, wild forces in nature to the uses of mankind, we add to those forces the quality of human consciousness. Thus electricity, the flaming thunderbolt tamed and modified by man, is now, as Elvis Levi predicted, what gives to human speech a universal reverberation and success. The meaning of the picture should now be plain. The great secret is the law that subconsciousness is at all times in control of every subhuman manifestation of cosmic energy. The extent of this control is far greater than is usually supposed. Every force in nature, down to those of the inorganic mineral kingdom, is within range of this subconscious direction. Actually, it is because of this that man is able to extend his dominion over the forces of his environment, even to the point where he may bring into actual manifestation chemical elements which, so far as we are able to determine from spectroscopic analysis of the stars, exist nowhere but on this planet. Neptunium and plutonium, the elements brought into active manifestation by atomic fission, are truly thought-born. Their genesis began with self-conscious mathematical analysis of the properties of matter. This analysis was then made the basis of imagination and invention. The new elements began their existence in man's mind and became actual things in the external world as the result of mind-directed and mind-conceived works of man. Excuse me. Ever greater things than these are possible for the adept who has mastered his own emotions and desires. Subconsciousness always directs the activities of the subhuman forces in nature. This is true whether the action of those forces be hostile or friendly to man. Subconsciousness, yes, in turn, is always amenable to impressions originating at the self-conscious level of mentation. Anybody know what mentation means? I never heard that word before, except first times I read this book. What matters, therefore, is the kind of patterns we set. Our mental patterns are determined by self-conscious interpretation of experience. Let observation and attention, the magician, be faulty, superficial, negative, or fearful, and the resulting sequence of subconscious reactions is bound to be destructive. Then the spoken word and unuttered speech of thought, the chariot, will be vehicles for a destructive pattern, and we shall set wild beasts at our own vitals. Yes, you must have confidence in your actions, but more than this, you must truly believe that you are engaging in correct action. This is why people look down upon liars and thieves, because they know what they're doing. They're hurting us all, and most people like me have no patience for it. Change the pattern, and you change the result. Make it accurate, profound, courageous, positive. Then you tame the lion, and he becomes your servant. This, indeed, is the secret of all spiritual activities, the secret of strength, the secret of ultimate mastery. Your personal application of this secret to your own life will change everything for the better. Carry it further into all your social relations, and you will become one of that increasing number of builders of a new, free world that shall realize the glory of the eternal splendor of the limitless light. Yes, 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 yes. From Kether to Malkuth. Bring it down, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, stay classy.